To our government, this is our plea with you to reconsider the banning of cigarette sales and related products. In times of a crisis such as this, the Constitution gives you powers to impose the restrictions that are looking at protecting the people of the country. If this is done with the appreciation of the sacrifices the people have to make, they don't just comply with your restrictions. They support the government in all its endeavors. However, such restrictions need to be within the scope of the law, backed up by scientific research and data, and rationality, meaning that it needs to make sense. In spite of your good intentions, it has become evident that you did not take into account the unintended consequences of some of those decisions. Respectfully, not much consideration was given to the breaking of addiction to nicotine-related products. Breaking an addictive habit by just stopping can bring about psychological and physical harm to the smoker and those around him. This is exhibited by anger, irritation, depression, anxiety, suicidal, and increased stress levels in these trying times. This has led to an increase in gender-based violence and abuse of children at home. I am not arguing the merits of gender-based violence. I am not justifying gender-based violence. All I am saying is smoking is a coping mechanism that may have prevented a fight at home. Even if it's one fight, it makes all the difference. Another issue that is being ignored are suicides. The loss of one life is one life too many, especially if it could have been avoided. No matter how ludicrous one may find this point, the data is there. Withdrawal of addiction into anything is often serious. That is why when people are quitting, they go through a step-by-step program to prepare them mentally and physically. There are millions and millions of smokers out there, and currently we do not have a plan as to how those people are going to be assisted from severe withdrawal symptoms. Assistance of this kind is often costly. How will the poor be able to afford this? And how will the poor be assisted by this? What's the plan to combat physical withdrawals? What's the plan? We don't have any plan. Which brings me to my next point. The ban on cigarettes has turned law-abiding citizens into criminals. Let me repeat that so it sinks in. The ban on cigarettes has turned law-abiding citizens into criminals. This is twofold. People are breaking the lockdown rules to satisfy their craving for cigarettes. This counters the restriction of movement. A person who would have otherwise stayed at home will be out on the streets getting arrested. And SAPS, the South African Police Services, are not equipped to deal with such delicate matters. Secondly, we are now buying illegal cigarettes. And in turn, that will push people to look and search for other means to quench their addiction or craving. Whatever vice they find to replace a cigarette, I can bet you $1 it will be hard to break the habit, which is why I must go back to the point I made earlier on. Unintended consequences. I can tell you right now, because the cigarettes are scarce, the group of 5 smokers, they only have 1 cigarette between them. What do you think they're going to do with that cigarette? To the next person. Whereas, had cigarettes been available, people given the right information, we created awareness around this, there'd be none of this. To sum everything up, 1. There is no scientific research or data that proves that there's a link between smoking and the China virus. 2. The ban on cigarette sales has only made people buy illegal cigarettes. Not all of us, some of us buy illegal cigarettes as a coping mechanism. 3. The ban of cigarette sales does not restrict movement. In fact, it does the opposite. 4. We are losing out on tax revenues whilst the crime syndicates are ripping on the profits. 5. To the 2,000 people out there, you are entitled to your own opinion. Good for you. You are not entitled to your own facts. 6. Here is our solution. Lift the ban on cigarette sales. Embark on an awareness campaign on the dangers of smoking starting from high school and beyond the China virus. 2. That campaign should let people know the dangers of sharing a cigarette. There are other viruses that are out there outside of the China virus that people contract through the sharing of cigarettes, so you can assist in that regard. So please, do not let my last cigarette be an illegal one.